Right then, far too many hangers-on at this club, and if 50% of them want the gaffer out, well, I want all 100% of the 50% out, which is 12, 13 players. So we're going to do a little bit of a keep or sell, or launch, I guess you could also throw in the mix of that one. And obviously we are in December, which means that January is right on the horizon, and we're going to need to make some changes. Now, realistically, double figures changes ain't happening. Let's be honest, it's not. But that might be ultimately what needs to be done. So either way, I'm going to go through it, each section of the squad, and we'll keep or sell, and we'll see what we're left with. We might have enough for a five-a-side team. Join me and see how we do. Right, let's start with the goalkeepers, shall we? I would argue that three of the goalkeepers, the three goalkeepers we have, are still relatively both known and unknown quantities, realistically. I'm all right with Onana at the moment. I'm certainly all right with Tom Heaton as second/third choice. Bayindir I know nothing about. At the moment, I would say keep all three. Heaton's definitely a safe backup option that we can use in case there's a need for him to be. And I would argue goalkeeper is currently our best position and certainly our best stacked position. Centre-halves, and I'll exclude Luke Shaw from this, even though that he probably plays before some of these guys do. And I think we've got an issue at centre-half, I really do. Martinez. Now, he's keep because he's the safest one. So he is the best one that we've got. Safest bet out of all of these lot. When he's fit, he plays. Keep 1,000,000%. Varane. Now, Varane is a little bit of an unknown, and if you believe the reports, and I'm going to be honest, it feels like there's a lot to believe in those reports, he don't want to be here. And my move of anyone that don't want to be here is, well, you won't be here then, in a bizzle. Varane, off you fucking pop. He's only featured in 8 of our Premier League games so far this season. He's only played 343 minutes. He's got to go. Maguire, definitely going to divide opinion on Maguire, I think. But he's put himself back into the Ten Hag starting lineup with his defensive contributions this season. He had a terrible time over the last few seasons, pretty much since that Mykonos incident, and he's looked shaky in some very important moments. Fundamentally, I don't think he scans enough, and I don't think he's anywhere near as good enough on the ball as he thinks he is. And certainly as some of our fans think he is. And even though he's had some impressive defensive, like last-ditch, like 1v1 fundamental defensive performances, I think he holds us back. So I would also sell Harry Maguire, given the opportunity. Lindelof. Now, Lindelof's featured a lot, and I don't think he's anywhere near good enough to be a starter for United. And I'd actually put him below Harry Maguire when it comes to ability. I just think I can just see him sticking around here forever unless you make a decision on him. Make the decision to move him on. I don't think there's any benefit to him kicking around. I don't think there is. He's played a lot. He's weak defensively, and he's not good enough on the ball to play the way we're looking to play, which I get leaves us with one centre-half currently at the moment, and that's not enough. You've got Johnny Evans, who might suffice to the end of this season. Are you going to get another season out of him? Honestly, I'd be amazed. Great option as a backup for this season. Does that extend into next season? Don't know. Which means that you probably have to go and buy 2 centre-halves next year, which means that one of Maguire or Lindelof or Varane is going to be kept around just because. I'd love to see a Todibo or a Danso brought in. I think that's the obvious choice, and they start alongside Martinez, and I think they're a great fit. But then I think you probably have to you got 2 options here with what would be your number 3 centre-half at the club. You either have to go with someone young with a lot of potential, and you go, look, he's young and he's raw, he ain't ready yet. And he comes in and out of the team. Or you go for someone at the end of their career, a la Johnny Evans, but next year. I don't know how you find 2 centre-halves in one window. Big ask. Massive ask. But This is the task that has been set with him. If we want to be realistic about what we're trying to be, then that's what you're going to have to do. And you're going to have to go and find someone that can do that for you. Right, lads, gather round. You have heard me banging on about Manscaped for ages, mainly discussing the virtues of a well-trimmed ball bag. But today we're going to move a little bit north, and something that you might have actually seen, my beard. Manscaped isn't just a master of below-the-belt grooming. They have conquered beard territory too. And I know this is groundbreaking news. Let's delve into the details. Now, we are all well acquainted with Manscaped's brilliance for the downstairs department. They've been many a saviour of many a date night and many a ball bag. And you know the Lawnmower 4.0 by now. I'm not going to tell you about any of the features for it, because if you don't know them, then you're never going to know them, right? It's a certified hero for the nether regions. But they're here for the beards now as well, and they've got the beard hedger. It is a cordless miracle worker that is both tough and gentle. It takes down facial forests in a single stroke. It's got 20 different lengths of settings. It gives you the power to totally customize your beard without cluttering up the bathroom and having a million different attachments. Now, they've also got another member of the band, and it's the Handyman. That is a dual-sided foil razor that has got your back, whether it's your face, whether you're going clean shaven or just tidying up a little bit around the neck. It is the epitome of comfort in the shaving world, and it's got a seamless and nick-free experience. So listen, if you want to give your beard the VIP treatment that it absolutely deserves, get over to manscaped.com, use a special code Howson. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping. And while you're grooming the jewels, let's not neglect the crown. With Manscaped, who said beauty had to be a pain? Let's keep it neat and tidy, top to bottom. Fullbacks. Right now you got Shaw, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon. Luke Shaw has come out and basically been our first choice left back. Started how he left off a little bit. He became consistent for England. He does have a bit of a relationship with Højlund waiting to form, I think. He's dangerous in the final third, and he's obviously an option if you need to play someone else at centre-half. It's a keep. It's a keep. It's a keep. It's a keep. Certainly, there's not many keeps on here, but he's certainly a keep. Dalot. Dalot seems to be stuck in his weird never-ending loop. It seems like he's in and out of it. He goes from being first choice to absolutely not first choice. And it changes. It's like seasonal with him. I don't know what it is with him. He's been here for a long time now. Mourinho bought him as one of the top prospects in the world. Personally, is he any better than Alvaro Fernandez? In my opinion, no. I don't think he is. His crossing can be quality. And he obviously fights for the badge, which is a positive because not all of them do that. But I think he just doesn't hit the requirement. Look, man, you're talking like Wes Brown, Gary Neville, and Patrice Evra and Raphael. He's not on that category. Nah, do one. Sell. Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's had a big resurgence, and he's also added to his game. I don't think he's ever going to hit the mark of being that £50 million fullback. I don't think he ever is going to find himself in the same sort of category that someone like Hakimi would, for example. He's been playing a lot more lately. I don't think you get value for money if you sell him. I would keep him, probably because I think he could squeeze in as a back three, right side centre-half in a back three. He isn't good enough to play centre-half in a two, but he might get away with playing right side centre-half in a three. And I would have him as backup to somebody else that you bring in. And I would see what sort of players are coming through the academy to see if we can get something in. Reguilon's in the mix because it's a bit of a cop-out. He's on loan. I think there's potential in him. And if he's a cheap buy, again, as a backup option to Luke Shaw, wouldn't be mad at it because you do need squad depth, and United's squad depth is dog shit at the moment. So I would keep him if he was available for a cheap price. Otherwise, off you pop. Midfielders. This is where United need to be spending, basically do what Chelsea have just done. I mean, Chelsea... Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo, what? We need a midfield like that. It's probably going to cost us as much as that as well to get this. Mainu, look, his potential, he starts at the moment because they've got nothing else. He shouldn't be starting for us. Ideally, he needs to be coming in and playing cameos and learning his trade a little bit. But because our midfield is fucking dog shit, he's going to start every single week because he's not dog shit. Of course, keep. Casemiro. Now, this is someone who's getting a lot of attention because of his absence, and there is talk of Saudi Arabia coming in. I don't know if that's any truth to it or if that's just it makes sense because look at all the other players who've moved to Saudi Arabia. He has been a target of a lot of red cards. Doesn't seem like he's enjoyed playing in England, but he was probably our best player last year. Certainly up in the mix as being one of. He was a big expensive signing. If we only got one season out of him for 70 million, that really feels like we've been shortchanged, doesn't it? You're not going to recoup hardly any of that, even if he goes to Saudi. I would like to see how he comes back. I would give him 6 months to make my mind up. Comes back around Christmas, I believe. So let's see if he can actually be the player that we saw towards the middle of last season. Because if he can, he's a massive asset for us. If not, sell. Bruno. One of the most underappreciated and overhated players I have ever witnessed. He changes games. You could argue that he doesn't do it in big games enough, but I would counter-argue that by saying Manchester United don't do that in big games at all at the moment. He is the captain. I do have my thoughts on whether he's the ideal captain, but he is the best of a bad bunch. He's an absolute keep, and if you want to sell him, then we're selling every single person out from underneath him as well. Keep him. Mason Mount, far too early to judge. Certainly wouldn't be calling him a success just yet. Been injured for a lot of the time that he's been here, which I think people are miscounting or discounting. I see some potential within him, but I don't think we've got the best out of him yet, and I don't think he knows what role the gaffer wants him to play. The midfield has been shite, and I think if he was with consistent partners, he would look fine. Too early to judge, so I'd keep him, but it'd be nice if he actually looked like the fee that we paid for him pretty soon. Christian Eriksen. It cost us nothing. And he's value when he plays. I think he's a little bit on the slow side, but he's not a toxic figure to have around the gaff, so keep. You need the depth. Amrabat. Now, he's on loan as well. I think he's got a compulsory purchase sort of clause in there somehow, so we're probably buying him. But despite how excited I was when he was being linked with us, I'm wondering how much of this is the lack of a preseason that he's had, because he's not had a preseason. He has not shown anything like what I thought just now. I put him in the Casemiro mold. You've got 6 months. Use this time to bed yourself in, get fit, because you're not going to be unfit for the next 6 months. And show me what you got. Because the potential's there with him. It just needs realising. McTominay. Fellaini 2.0. He's had some massive moments. Almost went to West Ham in the summer for 30 million. Scored a lot of goals. Scored a right load for Scotland in qualification. There are games and there are moments that McTominay stands up and he delivers. But they are few and far between. And I'm torn between, do you know what, you do need squad players, and between this guy won't suit how I think our gaffer wants us to play. Mag to grid. Which is get rid for those who don't know. I'd sell. Forwards. First up, Højlund's going nowhere, so let's get that out of the way. Very easy to sort of answer. He's playing well. The goals aren't there, but they'll come, and I'm confident of that. He's also the age where you know that he will develop into a striker. Anthony. I don't think Anthony's delivered anything on his transfer fee at all just yet. We massively overpaid for him at the time. And it was always going to be huge for him to fill that sort of fee, especially when you look at the numbers that he was putting up in Holland coming over. He was never going to be a 20 or 30 goal guy, but I thought he might be able to knit and link the play better than he has done. The fact we overpaid for him is really the magnifying glass and the problem. I think he's probably worth keeping just because you ain't going to recoup any of the money. And I also think that the manager, because he spent so much on him, will probably persist with him longer than is right. But I would probably keep him. I think there is a player in there with him. We don't know how much his off-the-field troubles have affected him. I would definitely keep. Garnacho. We've seen a lot of growth with him over the last year. He's got an eye for the spectacular, of course. He plays with a confidence that is rare. I like the fiery attitude in him. I think he's fucking mental, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I would absolutely keep him. Palestri's a weird one. Came in under Ollie with Diallo, who probably not even going to touch on here because there's just no information about Diallo for us to discuss. There's a Dan James vibe about him. He feels basic. I don't think he's going to be... I mean, we need squad players. He firmly fits in the level of squad player, but I don't know if I ever see him being more than that. Or if that's enough. I mean, was he any worse or better than Alanga that we got rid of? Sometimes he looks a bit like a rabbit in the headlights. I'd probably move him on. Anthony Martial. I would sell so fucking fast. Absolute waste of a shirt. Nothing more to add. And then Marcus Rashford. This used to be the easiest question of all. Lately, it's not become that. And I would say Rashford's at an extremely key moment in his career at the moment because just signed a new deal. His value or perceived value is no higher than right now. There is certainly no end of contract discount to be had anywhere with this player. But the performances of a player that at one point was toe-to-toe with Mbappe are not there at the moment. Something has to give. He either needs to rediscover the form, certainly needs to rediscover the attitude on the field, and he will regain the trust. If he doesn't, it isn't going to get any better, and the relationship with the fans isn't going to improve. He can't hide behind being a young player anymore. He is now a seasoned professional with hundreds of games under his belt. He should be one of the players that the club and the team are looking to in moments to drag us out of the shit. That's what's meant to be happening, and it isn't happening. I think I'm keeping. But a bit like Casemiro and Amrabat, we need to see something in the next 6 months. I also don't think you're going to get a good value for him in 6 months, but I think his status within the club means that he has to deliver. If he isn't delivering, then what is the point in him being here? And I realise that leaves us with maybe not even a full 11 to put out. And that alone might show you the size of the task that sits in front of Erik ten Hag. You guys let me know what you think. Give me your keeps and sells if you agree with mine. If you disagree with mine, whatever it is, bang it in the comments. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.